Welcome back to the Block Stretch Repair YouTube channel. Today we continue working on this 1955 Studebaker. We are working on replacing the floors currently. Previously we got this thing tacked in. As you can see, I've been at work welding this thing all the way around. Still have a bit more to do in the front, and right here I purposely didn't weld because most of this metal right here needs cut out and replaced. So after we finish welding up front there, we're going to move on and put the floor pan in on that side, and then we will be done to just simply replace this section here and the same section on the other side, though a little bit further back on the other side. This one has a little bit of rust a little bit further back. The other one has a lot of rust in this whole section. So, not quite done yet, but a little bit more to go, and we will have a good new floor in here. We also have to repair the little rockers here. They're pretty bad on the I guess they're door seals. We'll have to repair the rust on those, but it is coming along absolutely fantastically. Alright, so this is looking fairly good. We are fully welded in, except for over here, where I did have some more rust, so I've got ahead and cut out that rust. There was panel bond on all of this, and I guess somehow that trapped moisture underneath or something, because that caused a bunch of rust. We have this section here we gotta replace, we have that little section up there we gotta replace, and this whole side right here. So the best bet's gonna be to replace this side, and then we can weld in, especially this panel. That panel we can do at any time, but the side, once we weld that in, I think this will partially weld to that side. So let's get some cardboard, mark up what we need to cut out of new metal, do that, and weld it in. And there we have it. After a ridiculous amount of work, up there has been repaired. A bunch of flux core. I am tired of having my head upside down, pinched under that brake pedal welding that. That was ridiculous. So, this side is technically done, besides for grinding all the welds and painting. Now we need to move on to that side. This time I remembered to drill that bolt hole before I started welding. So now, let's start welding this one in. And there we have it. This side is done. Stupid light causes all the bad camera flickering, but that side's done, and now this side is done. That took a long time. Between today and yesterday, I have finished both of these, and I am tired. Now, we still have this section right here that I'm going to have to cut out and repair, but it goes somewhat behind this door hinge, so we're going to remove this door, and then we can rebuild that door hinge that's causing this door to sag while we're at it. So, once we pull this door off, we'll fix that. And also, this little trim piece here that the trim goes around, the fabric that that goes around here goes into, is also rusted through right here, so all that's going to have to be replaced. But again, we'll do that later. Now it's time to fix this rust right here. All of this section needs cut out, and we'll see what we need to do and replace. I wouldn't be surprised due to this bump right here if we don't have to cut that out a little bit further, because I'm thinking there might be some rust buildup right there. So I've cut all the stuff that we need to cut off the top layer. We have to fix this bottom layer. This right here is not actually a rust spot that's swelled up. That's a body spacer there between the frame and the body, and I guess over the years the rest of the body has sunken down to the frame. It's just right here is still sticking up because of that. We're going to ignore that and focus on right here. We need to finish, this is very fragile, cut out what we need to replace right here, which I think is the entire thing, and mold that to shape, and then get this top part made. And I've gone over here to the passenger side. We need to do basically the same thing, cut out this entire section here, but we also need to cut out this entire section right here. And there we have it. All of this rust has been cut out. I also cut out the rust that was on that part there, so we'll have to remake that, and I cut it out on the other side. We're going to have to basically completely remake this on the other side. I will say that Commander has me very concerned for the rest of these Studebakers, because that one I didn't think was all that rusty. These ones I know are very, very rusty. So I'm very concerned at how bad these ones are going to be. Like, this entire rocker is held together by the piece of aluminum trim down there. Yeah, this one's going to need literally the entire floor replaced. I think this one's probably going to be the next least rusty, at least on the inside. The outside on this one's really rough. It definitely was sitting outside for a while the others were sitting covered for quite a while, but you know, I might be wrong. This one's pretty freaking bad inside too. I might just be wrong entirely about all of these. I went ahead and used a sledgehammer and some steel little pieces and molded our two patch panels to repair those underfloor pieces on both sides. Now what we need to do is we need to actually transfer these holes and these brackets into our new patch panels. This one here actually gets a second one right here, but it is currently still stuck to the bottom of that seat, so we'll have to see if we can get that off. Got all three of them. I got them all sandblasted and ready to go. I also got the holes drilled in our panels. And we're going to attach them the way they were originally attached, and that was spot welded, so we're going to use this spot welder to just tack them into place. And just like that, that's not going anywhere. We have this side now mounted in. The other side is also welded in. So what I'm going to do now is actually take a grindstone and weld off all the tops of all these ugly welds so that, well, we can fill any pinholes that then appear, and then we can get this stuff metal etched and then painted, so then, well, specifically down here painted, so that I can put this final layer on right here, and then this side will be done except for this door seal, and then the other side we have a little bit more to go. There we go. I'm out of grinder batteries, but we got this side fully done. Looks absolutely fantastic. This side we got partially done here at the beginning, but I ran out there on the back. So I'll have to get some batteries charged up and finish that. But this is looking absolutely incredible. There is metal dust on everything. Everything's going to be vacuumed out of here. Metal etched, get this painted, and this is going to look absolutely fantastic, I think. Got this plate cut out for right here. Now we need to do some bends to it to make it work. We also got a little square to put in right there. But what we need to do is just take a hammer to this and some little pieces of metal just to bend a little bit of a bend right here, a little bit of a bend down through here, and a little bit of a bend like right around here. Nothing too major. Now we get this welded in right here. We also get our little square welded in right there, and this little hole welded up. And this side will be done. That side over there is now completely done, except for the door seal, of course. But we're getting this side welded up, and then we're getting even closer. Okay, all of that's welded. All of this side's welded. I'm going to go get a grinder, grind off all the stuff we have left to grind, until I run out of batteries, I guess. And then get this stuff painted up, I guess. I went ahead and put the metal etching stuff on both sides here, so once this stuff's ready, hopefully we'll get this stuff all painted up here tonight, so by tomorrow all this stuff's dry, and we can slap the seats back in so we can actually, well, drive this thing again. And there we go. I put a nice coat of paint on both sides here. Now, it's dusty everywhere that I didn't paint. I cleaned where I was painting. So once all this dries here, hopefully tomorrow, because it's a little past 1 a.m. right now, we'll take all this junk out of here, clean this thing out, wash it all down, put these seats back in, obviously not for the final time, but just to get them out of my way and to make this thing movable again. Eventually, we're going to be putting carpet and all that fun stuff, redoing these seats, but I think I'm going to do those probably last. Those will be probably the final thing I do to this car, because my luck, I'll put brand new carpet in, get the seats reupholstered, and I'll mess them up painting the car, or I'll get some dirt on it working on something else. So I think that'll be the final thing we do. I think paint will go before that, and paint's probably going to be the second final thing we do. So that means the driver's side is mostly done. Technically, there's supposed to be a piece of angle iron that's spot welded on here that would come out, create a little lip, one for the door seal to go into, and two for this to slot into. Now, we'll have to make a new one of these because this one's really bad, but that would slot in and just screw on like that, and that's your door seal. However, we're going to have to remanufacture one of these, which will be really fun because the dots wouldn't be terribly difficult, but the Studebaker is going to be really difficult to recreate. We're either going to have to make some custom tooling for that, or I'm going to have to get my industrial engraving machine running so we can just engrave a piece of aluminum. Things did not go to plan. I cut out this section here, which is what needs to be replaced on this passenger side rocker or door seal, whatever you want to call it. And that's good. Just a little bit more to go. I then decided, let's remove the passenger door. That's where things did not go to plan, because we needed to remove it anyway to fix the rust down here, and to fix this bottom door hinge, because it was sagging really bad. Well, I proceeded to use one of these impact screwdrivers to break both these ones free. Could not break that one free for the life of me, so I put the bit on the impact and proceeded to shatter two Phillips head bits, trying to get that out. That didn't work. Went back to trying to remove the door this direction. Could not budge it with this. Went back to the impact. Proceeded to actually be able to remove the door, but then we got to the bottom hinge, and the reason the bottom hinge was sagging was because this had completely rusted and sheared off of this. So we just had a three-part hinge because this piece is also shattered. I've welded it back together. I've put a new pin in it. We'll see if I did any of that at the right angles whenever we go to mount it back in. I won't be surprised if I have to cut this and re-weld it at a different angle. There's a bit of adjustment on the door, so if it's not perfect, that doesn't matter too much. But we're going to have to replace this section. We're going to have to drill that out and tap it and put something back there so we can thread into that, because that screw obviously wasn't coming out. I had to drill that. And we'll also have to weld the nut back to the back of the metal that we put in right here so we can actually thread this thing in. I'll have to get some new screws, but yeah, things did not go to plan because that took forever to get off. Unfortunately, we're not 100% done on the interior like I'd hoped by the end of this weekend. We didn't even hit the trunk, so that's not very good either. But at least the floor on the driver's side is 100% done, and then on the passenger side, it's 99% done, just this section and then that corner right there. I was hoping to make it into the trunk this weekend to finish the trunk area, but that also did not happen. The trunk shouldn't take too long. We have some rust along this edge here, or along right here. That's pretty much all there. Then there's a little bit in this corner as well, and I think the fuel tank mount here in the center is also rusted out, but those should be fairly quick compared to the rest of the floor. They're pretty small panels. We're not like cutting the entire back floor out right here. Pretty much just going to have to replace probably, okay, a decent amount of this section, actually. That's a little bit thicker rust than I thought. It makes it up here. But again, that shouldn't take near as long as replacing pretty much the entire interior floor. I also need to figure out why none of the door windows want to open correctly. This one drops the front down too far and doesn't really open fully. I'm not sure what's going on with that. It's probably just the tracks are really gummed up and we'll have to clean all those up with some grease and stuff. But the other window I know does the same thing. It drops the front down and leaves the back up, and then when you go to send it up, it misses the track entirely. It's a real pain, but there's ultimately shouldn't be that big of a deal. They should be a fairly simple fix. The hardest part about this driver's door most definitely will be finding a new piece of glass for this, because this one is cracked. Of course, it's a dual pane laminated piece, which is fun, and of course both pieces are cracked, which is ridiculous, but ultimately I'm sure it would be fine. But it would be nice to probably replace it if I can find a replacement. But if you like what you saw, please leave a like and subscribe. Hopefully next weekend, I'll finally finish this interior, fix this corner, fix that right there. And then we can get the door back on and hopefully put the seats back in and be able to drive this thing again. That would be very nice, because there's a lot of stuff underneath it I need to clean out. Once we get the interior done, we need to basically jack this up as high as I can put it on ramps or whatever. Then I can crawl under it, wire wheel basically everything underneath. Pour 15 it and rust convert all of the underneath that I can. Because obviously I don't want that rusting out from the underside as well. That's going to be real difficult. If I had a car lift, that would be way easier, but I don't. So we're going to have to put this up on as many ramps as I can, I guess.